Hey there, Pokemon trainer! How's it going? Minebuild here, and today I'm going to show you how to use Charizard in competitive battles. If you're into strategy and want to step up your competitive Pokemon game, stick with me in this video. I'll break down my analysis of this awesome Pokemon and highlight the best moves to get the most out of it in single battles. And hey, I want to hear from you too. What moveset would you use on Charizard? Drop your suggestions in the comments. If you enjoy this competitive Pokemon analysis, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to support the Minebuild channel. It really helps the channel grow on the platform. And if you love Pokemon and also play Minecraft, stick around until the end. I've put together a playlist with amazing Pokemon builds in Minecraft, all created by me. Now, let's get started and make Charizard shine in battles. Charizard made its debut in the Kanto region as Pokemon number 6 in the National Dex. It evolves from Charmander, the first stage, to Charmeleon, the second stage, and finally into Charizard, its fully evolved form. It's a fire and flying type, a combo that gives it some clear strengths and weaknesses in competitive battles. According to the Pokédex, Charizard stands at 1.7 meters tall and weighs 90.5 kilograms. Its total base stats add up to 534, spread across HP, 78, attack, 84, defense, 78, special attack, 109, special defense, 85, and speed, 100. When you look at Charizard's base stats and consider that it's a fire-flying Pokemon and that fire is naturally one of the most offensive types in competitive play, it becomes clear that Charizard shines the most as a special attacker. Its speed and special attack are clearly its standout stats, and that's exactly where you want to invest if you want to get the most value out of Charizard in single battles. Charizard technically has two abilities, but let's be real, its standard ability doesn't do much for it competitively. What really matters here is its hidden ability, Solar Power. With Solar Power, whenever the sun is active, Charizard's final special attack is boosted by 50%. The drawback is that it loses 12.5% of its HP every turn, but in return, Charizard turns into a full-on offensive nuke. Its special attack, which is already solid, becomes absolutely threatening under sunlight, allowing it to apply massive pressure in single battles. Of course, to make this work consistently, you'll need sun support either from a teammate or by having Charizard set the sun itself with Sunny Day. And it gets even better. Under sunny weather, Charizard can use Solar Beam in a single turn, completely skipping the usual charge turn, which gives it incredible coverage. On top of that, Sunlight boosts Fire-type moves by 50%. Since Charizard is a Fire-type Pokemon, it already benefits from Stab, and the Sun stacks another 50% boost on top of that. At the same time, Water-type moves have their damage reduced by 50% under the sun. This is huge, because water is one of Charizard's natural weaknesses, and Sunlight helps soften that matchup significantly. Now, let's talk about weaknesses. Charizard has a massive 4x weakness to Rock-type moves, which is easily its biggest problem. It also takes super effective damage from water and electric attacks. Against normal, ice, poison, flying, psychic, ghost, dragon, and dark, Charizard takes neutral damage. So overall, Charizard has 3 weaknesses, and one of them is a very punishing 4x weakness, something you always need to respect in single battles. Defensively, though, its typing isn't bad. Ground-type moves deal no damage at all, giving Charizard a full immunity. It also has 4x resistances to grass and bug, plus 2x resistances to fire, fighting, steel, and fairy. In total, that's 7 resistances, including 1 complete immunity. That said, even with a solid defensive typing, Charizard's base stats are not designed to take hits. Because of that, the optimal way to use Charizard is by fully committing to its offensive role, especially as a special attacker. And when you factor in how dominant Fire-type offense can be in the meta, this aggressive approach makes perfect sense in single battles. Offensively, Charizard can deal super effective damage with its fire and flying type stab moves against grass, ice, fighting, bug, and steel type Pokémon. Against normal, fire, water, electric, poison, ground, flying, psychic, ghost, dragon, dark, and fairy, Charizard deals neutral damage, meaning it can pressure a large portion of the meta at least evenly. One important thing to keep in mind is that both of Charizard's stab types, fire and flying, deal only half damage to rock-type Pokémon. Because of that, running a dedicated coverage move for rock types is almost mandatory, since relying on stab alone won't get the job done in those matchups. Now, let's move on to the best moves and the strongest offensive options for the set I selected. First up is Solar Beam, a grass-type special attack with a massive 120 base power. Under normal conditions, it takes 2 turns to charge, which is a big drawback. However, if Charizard is under the sun, Solar Beam fires in a single turn. This is huge, because Solar Beam hits rock and water types super effectively, 2 of Charizard's weaknesses, making it an extremely powerful coverage option. Next, we have the choice between Fire Blast and Flamethrower. Both are fire-type stab special moves, but they play very different roles. Fire Blast offers 110 base power, but with 85% accuracy, meaning there's always a risk of missing. Flamethrower, on the other hand, has slightly lower power at 90, but comes with perfect 100% accuracy, making it the safer and more consistent option. So the decision here is simple: maximum damage with risk, or reliable damage with no surprises. Another strong option is Scorching Sands, a special ground-type move with 70 base power and a 30% chance to burn the target. It provides excellent coverage, especially against rock types, which Charizard struggles to deal with. If you're not planning to keep the sun up consistently, Scorching Sands is often a better alternative to Solar Beam. For flying-type coverage, Air Slash is easily Charizard's most reliable option. While it can learn Hurricane with 110 base power and stab. That move only has 70% accuracy, and under the sun, it drops even further to 50%, making it extremely inconsistent. Air Slash, by contrast, has 75 base power, stab, and 95% accuracy, making it the most dependable flying-type attack for Charizard. We also have Sunny Day, a fire-type status move. This allows Charizard to set up the sun by itself for 5 turns, activating solar power and boosting its fire-type attacks, which is crucial if your team doesn't have a dedicated sun setter. Finally, there's Dragon Pulse, a dragon-type special attack move with 85 base power. This move is important because dragon types resist fire-type attacks, and Charizard's flying-type stab isn't strong enough to break through them consistently. With Dragon Pulse, Charizard gains reliable coverage and can hit dragon types for super effective damage. The best moveset I've chosen for Charizard, and the one that consistently performs the best, is a fully offensive set, designed to maximize its special attack and speed. This is, without a doubt, the playstyle where Charizard truly shines. For the EV spread, we run maximum special attack and maximum speed. The idea is straightforward: hit as hard as possible and outspeed as many threats as possible. The remaining EVs go into special defense. Here's an important detail many players overlook. You don't want to invest those leftover EVs into HP and end up with an even HP stat. Charizard is extremely vulnerable to Stealth Rock, which removes 50% of its HP upon switching in. If Charizard has an even HP number, it will lose exactly half its HP on the first switch in and get KO'd the second time it enters the field. By keeping Charizard's HP as an odd number, you avoid that exact scenario and give it one extra chance to survive. The nature is Timid, which boosts speed while lowering attack. Perfect, since this set doesn't use any physical moves. For IVs, everything is set to 31. Even if attack were at 0, it wouldn't matter here, since we're not using it anyway. What really matters is having max IVs in every relevant stat. The ability, of course, is Solar Power. This moveset is 100% offense, with no support or status moves at all. First, we have Solar Beam, a grass-type special move that hits rock and water types super effectively. Under the sun, Solar Beam fires in a single turn, turning it into a devastating coverage option and one of the most important moves on this set. Next is the Fire-type stab slot. You can choose between Flamethrower and Fire Blast, depending on your preference. Fire Blast offers higher damage but comes with a risk of missing, while Flamethrower provides slightly lower power with perfect accuracy. There's also Heat Wave, but that move is far better suited for double battles than singles. The third move is Dragon Pulse, a Dragon-type special attack. This is crucial because Dragon types resist fire, they also resist Solar Beam, and Air Slash alone isn't strong enough to break through them. Since Dragon types are extremely common in competitive play, Dragon Pulse gives Charizard reliable and super effective coverage in those matchups. Finally, we have Air Slash, a flying-type special stab move. It completes the set by giving Charizard consistent flying-type damage with solid accuracy. Overall, this Charizard is built for pure offense, no setup, no status, just constant pressure. For the item, the best choice by far is heavy-duty boots. This prevents Charizard from taking damage from entry hazards, which is absolutely critical, since Stealth Rock alone removes 50% of its HP. With heavy-duty boots, Charizard can switch in and out freely without being damaged. Finally, to unlock Charizard's full potential, you'll need Sun support. If your moveset is fully offensive, another Pokemon on the team should handle setting up the Sun, allowing Charizard to benefit from solar power. If the Sun is inactive, solar power does nothing, and in that case, Charizard's standard ability Blaze may actually be the better choice. So always keep that in mind when building your team around Charizard. When you look at the physical attacking moves Charizard can learn up to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, there really isn't anything that stands out as worth using. And the main reason for that is simple: Charizard's base attack stat isn't very impressive, it sits at 84. To make physical moves even remotely viable, you'd need to set up Dragon Dance at least twice, just to double its attack and make those moves worth clicking. So while Charizard does have several physical move options, I don't see any of them as truly effective on regular Charizard. This side of the move pool is far better suited for Mega Charizard X, which is built to take advantage of physical attacks. When it comes to Charizard's special attacking move pool, I've already covered the most important options earlier in the video. That said, there are still a few other moves that might be worth mentioning for competitive play. Focus Blast is a fighting-type special move with 120 base power, but only 70% accuracy. So while the damage is great on paper, there's always a very real chance of missing, which makes it unreliable in practice. Ancient Power is a rock-type special move with 60 base power. Its main appeal is the 10% chance to boost all of Charizard's stats by 50%, but at the end of the day, that's entirely luck-based, and not something you can consistently rely on. Weather Ball is another option. Under the sun, it becomes a fire-type move with 100 base power. The problem is that it depends completely on having Sun active, and in most cases, Flamethrower does the job just as well without relying on weather. Then there's Blast Burn. It's an incredibly powerful move, but the fact that Charizard can't move on the following turn makes it very risky and generally not worth using in competitive battles. Now, looking at status moves, Charizard has access to several setup options. Dragon Dance is a Dragon-type status move that boosts both attack and speed by 50%. However, this move is really only useful on physical Charizard sets. Swords Dance is another option, doubling Charizard's attack stat. You might choose Swords Dance over Dragon Dance if you want immediate power, but Dragon Dance has the advantage of also boosting speed, so it really depends on what you're aiming for. There's also Protect, a normal-type status move, useful for stalling a turn or scouting the opponent's move. Finally, we have Belly Drum. This move cuts Charizard's HP in half to maximize its attack stat. Even if Charizard has been hit by multiple Intimidates, Belly Drum instantly brings its attack to the maximum. Honestly, it's more of a meme strategy than a consistent competitive option. And of course, there's Sunny Day, which we've already talked about, allowing Charizard to set the sun itself and activate solar power. Now we wait for Generation 10 to see if Charizard gets new tools and maybe opens up new ways to be used in battle. I hope you enjoyed this analysis. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.